Hello everyone and welcome to the Complete Sports Updates. This is the show where the latest and trending stories in the world of sports are brought to you. My name is Habeeb Kuranga. Joining me on today's episode is Adeboye Amosu. Together we shall be taking through the rounds as far as sports stories in today's episode is concerned. Welcome to the show, boy, and how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Absolutely. It always feels good to be back on the Complete Sports Update. The Super Falcons of Nigeria are set for battle against the Copper Queens of Zambia in the quarterfinals of the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations following the completion of the group stages. And right here on Complete Sports Update, we shall assess the Falcons ahead of their mouth-watering clash against Zambia, as well as looking at the team's capability in terms of avenging the defeat against this same opposition in the last edition of this competition. So, boy, welcome back to the show once more. The Super Falcons of Nigeria, yes, definitely. After the successful completion of their group stage, following 2 wins as well as a draw, which did not result in any goal conceded by the Falcons right there. And now they'll be playing against Zambia in the quarterfinals of this same competition. So what do you have to say, or what are your thoughts about this encounter generally?
It's going to be the first real test for the Super Falcons in the competition. We all know the pedigree of the teams that they played against in the group stage. You talk about Tunisia, Botswana, and Algeria. When you talk about women's football in Africa, you can't really mention the 3 countries among the superpowers. So, Super Justin Madugu and his guys are going to face their first retest of the competition. We all know the pedigree of the Zambians. They have 2 of the best strikers in the women's game in Africa at the moment. That's talking about Barbara Banda and Rachel Kudanji. The 2 ladies have combined to score 6 goals in the competition so far. So for the Super Falcons, they've not conceded so far. They've scored the first goal. But we have seen the team wasted a lot of scoring chances, and the fact that the team has looked disjointed so far. That's why I said it's going to be their first real test, because against their first 3 opponents, they didn't really find a 1-2 and draw 1 game, but they didn't really measure up to standard in those 3 games.
Okay, so are there any concerns, following their recent lackluster performances, most especially against Botswana, as well as the stalemate against Algeria? So do you see any concern going into this encounter against Zambia?
I think it has to be the midfield combination, because if you look at the team, for me, Halima Tainde, the defensive midfielder, is someone you can't really take out from the team. She's experienced, she has seen it all. I think this should be a 3rd or 4th WAFCON. She has played at the Olympics, played at the World Cup. But where the problem is the combination between Deborah Abiodun, we talk about Jennifer Ishegini, talk about Tony Payne, and we have seen Rashida Tajibari, the captain, moving into the midfield too. I think getting the right combination in midfield. If you look at the attack too, the first game, when Asisa Joshua has started the game, and Omoni Sola Babajide, who has been, to me, fantastic in the competition. But when she went to Yezu and Esther Okoronko came on, the first 2 games, we saw the difference that they made in the team. Okoronko didn't start the last game too, but when she was introduced in the second half, she made a lot of impact. I think the key thing going into the quarterfinal game against Zambia will be the coach getting the right combination in midfield and the attack. If he can be able to sort out, I see the Super Falcons soaring above the Copper Queens. So
you're talking about, you're saying Coach Justin Madugu should actually make some changes into his lineup. So what do you like, what recommendations can you actually provide as regards to this situation right there?
Like I said a while ago, I think I would like to see probably Ishegini starting in midfield, probably along with Tony Payne or Deborah Abiodun, you understand? And Esther Okoronko, for me, is the most informed attacker in that team at the moment. There is no way starting out from the bench, probably using her as a joker. You need to use your best from the start, because this is the knockout stage. Any mistake, you're out of the competition.
Okay, so now let's move to the 2 teams generally now. Zambia, well, actually, they were actually the team that defeated Nigeria in the last edition of the competition, which was actually the third place playoff, a 1-0 victory for them. And now, you know, it will be somewhat of a revenge mission for the Falcons. So do you think the team has that capability of going all the way to inflict some form of revenge against this particular opposition that defeated them in the last competition?
Well, they have all it takes. They have the quality to beat the Zambians. It will be about who is determined to carry the day, and the kind of formation. It's going to be an open game. The first 3 games that the Super Falcons played, the opponents sat at the back. They defended resolutely. So this, I expect it to be an open game. More spaces for the midfielders and the attack to at least do the damage. So the key thing, like I mentioned earlier, is all about getting the right combination in midfield and the attack. If the coach can be able to sort that out, Nigeria will carry the day.
So what are the chances of the 9-time champions, Women's African Cup of Nations champions in this encounter? Do you see them, you know, progressing to the final 4 of this competition?
Well, I see them progressing. If I know the girls are determined to win the 10th title, they were all disappointed losing out in the semi-final at the last edition to Morocco. But personally, I think they have what it takes to beat the Zambians.
Absolutely. You, as a team, going into a particular competition or into a particular match as somewhat of an underdog, you definitely want to write the critics off. You know, just like the game against in the Club World Cup final, Chelsea versus Paris Saint-Germain, which Chelsea eventually won the game, you know, shockingly. 3-0. So definitely the Super Falcons can actually draw motivation from this particular encounter right there in the United States of America. So thank you very much, Boy, for the wonderful and insightful analysis, as always, on the Complete Sports Update. So viewers, this is where we will wrap things up as far as proceedings in today's episode is concerned. Do take care of yourselves and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.